Hello, everybody. We're just working through some technical issues and we will be on in just a second. I need to be able to see my slides. There we go. Okay. So hopefully everybody can see my slides. Can one of our folks confirm that?
Yes, indeed, Angela.
Okay, perfect. So welcome. Today we are going to be talking to you about one of our environmental benchmarking sessions with the Environmental Stewardship Initiative. I am Angela Barger. I am the ESI Program Manager, and I want to welcome you all to the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality's Environmental Stewardship Initiative Environmental Benchmarking Series. Today, we're going to be hearing from Smithfield Foods in Wilson, their bacon plant, about their award-winning water reduction efforts. We hope that you can use the information, take some of these ideas from their talk back to your own sites and use them for your own water efficiency efforts. We need to be sure to thank our partners at the Land of Sky Regional Council and the Waste Reduction Partners. They are a 20-year-old pollution prevention program that utilizes retired scientists and engineers to provide customized on-site technical assistance, including water audits and other assistance here in North Carolina. I have a few housekeeping items before we get started. So if you have audio issues and are using the audio through your computer, you can switch to your telephone. You just go to the audio tab in the webinar controls box and click the phone. You'll see a phone number there and a code, and that will be shown for you to use to access the webinar through your phone. That call-in information is also in your webinar invite or the reminder emails that you got. We are recording today's session, and we're going to post those recordings and copies of the slides to our ESI event page sometime probably in the next week. We have currently muted everyone in order to prevent feedback and eliminate unintentional background noise. Therefore, we ask that you submit questions using the questions function on the control panel. If you need to add clarification to a question, you can use the hand raising functionality. If you click on the attendees menu, you should see your name, and next to it should be a little hand symbol. If you click on that, it sends a notice that you'd like to speak. ESI staff will recognize you and unmute you to speak. So feel free to type in questions throughout the presentation, but we're going to hold the Q&A until after our speaker finishes her prepared slides. So now let's learn a little bit about our audience. So we have a few polls for you. And the first one, as I pull it up, hopefully you can see that. Nope, launch.
There it is.
There we go. So the first one is just asking what type of industry or employee are you? Give it a few more seconds. Looks like we got about 58% in the manufacturing industry category, and then the rest are government employees. So welcome to our fellow governmenters as well as our industrial folks. We're happy to have you here. All right, let me close that one. And then our next one is, are you an ESI member? All right. Looks like we got about half and half here. So yes, we got about, well, it's going up. About 56% are ESI members. We've got a few that are looking for more information, and then a good many who just aren't in North Carolina, probably some of our fellow government employees. So welcome. All right, I'm gonna close that out. All right. So we'll tell you a little bit about ourselves. Since we have a large contingent of folks that are not members of the ESI on the line today, let's start with a brief explanation of who we are. The ESI is a voluntary leadership program that's a part of the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. We are managed by the Non-Regulatory Environmental Assistance and Customer Service Division, which also contains the state's recycling office, the department's toll-free hotline, and the air quality small business ombudsman, as well as our regional office managers and environmental assistance coordinators. ESI started with about 20 facilities in 2002, and we've increased that to about 96 members at 199 sites as of our last count. When the program first began, only entities that were permitted by DEQ, which was then DENR, were allowed to join, but we relaxed that requirement. And today, any organization can join whether they are permitted or not, as long as they are willing to set and report on their environmental goals. This allows entities that have improved their performance through P2 and other means to participate, even if they no longer need an environmental permit to operate. We have a wide variety of members, including small business, agribusiness, service providers, industrial manufacturing facilities, as well as federal and state operations. ESI membership has 3 levels, starting with our partners who commit to either establishing measurable environmental goals or committing to establish a formal environmental management system. Members at our middle level have both a mature environmental management system based on ISO 14001 and at least 2 measurable goals. And then our highest level, the environmental steward, requires not only measurable goals, but aggressive ones. In addition, their mature environmental management system must be integrated into their core business functions, and they must have environmental involvement with their community. Our stewards also agree to mentor others in their environmental efforts, and you'll be hearing from one of them today. All of our members are required to report on the progress towards their goals annually, and the 2 higher levels are reviewed for continued conformance with those requirements, with the ESI level requirements every 5 years. ESI members are each assigned a coach who can assist with technical and compliance issues. We also work with multiple partners, both within DEQ and others, to provide assistance related to the members' goals and to help us provide educational webinars and workshops, for example. We have a series of training modules that we host annually on implementing and improving environmental management systems, and we also provide additional assistance with EMS, including document reviews, gap analysis, functionally equivalent assessments to the ISO 14001 standard, and internal auditing assistance. The ESI is also committed to providing a space where our members and others can network and share ideas in a variety of formats, including our annual conference, events like today with our environmental benchmarking sessions, our quarterly hazardous materials roundtables, and our energy webinar series, as well as other events based on member interest. So that's a high-level overview of the ESI, but today we're here to share the story of one of our stewards. So I'm going to turn the floor over to their coach, Don Burke, to introduce today's speaker.
Thank you, Angela, and many thanks to everyone for joining us today. Well, let me start to say that Carrie Strong is a determined and hardworking person. This is an understatement. Carrie began her career in water and wastewater treatment by completing the required classes in 1994. This was done with her daughter being all of 16 months old and Carrie a single parent. Carrie earned her associate's degree in environmental health in 1996 with a concentration of classes focusing on water, wastewater, and hazardous materials. At that time, it was near impossible for a female to get a job at a wastewater plant in the Midwest where she lived at the time. Carrie began working at a Tyson 2 million gallon per day wastewater treatment plant in January of 1997. Now, while Carrie was working, she took correspondence courses to obtain a bachelor's in environmental studies. Carrie worked at the Tyson facility for 15 years, starting at the bottom, working nights, and working her way up to the officer manager position and the lead operator. Now, after being passed over for promotion the second time, Carrie decided to transition from industry to municipalities. Carrie finally decided to get into environmental management and relocate. There, she got an excellent offer from a Smithfield plant in Carroll, Iowa, and then 18 months later, transferred to the Wilson, North Carolina facility. Carrie started with the company in 2014 and is now coming up on 8 years of employment with Smithfield Wilson. Carrie has been working in the wastewater treatment field for 24 years now in one form or another. She loves the Smithfield brand because of the commitment to sustainability. She also loves the people she works with and the teamwork approach to everything. Also, working at a bacon plant is also a wonderful perk on the job. Carrie, thank you for making this possible, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Don. That was a great introduction. The reason I wanted to do this was to try to help other people, achieve the same kind of goals that we did. I'm going to go through what we did, when we did it, and how we did it. So, as everybody knows, part of the ISO program is continuous improvement. We set goals based on improvement, aggressive goals, like Angela said. As of 2017, when we began our water reduction initiative, our goal was to hit 28.53 gallons of water per 100 pounds of product that we put out. The reason that the company measures it that way is we all make different products. We have companies that make spices. We make bacon. There's companies that make hot dogs. So to compare per 100 pounds of product is a level playing field, apples to apples, so to speak. So 28.53 was our goal. That would have got us 10% under our 2014 standard year at the time. That was 31.7. So what we did, the first thing that we did was we developed a water use reduction team. Excuse me. There. The first thing that we did was we developed the team. We got, of course, our managers are all on every team. And then we got some hourlies in and anyone who was interested in, helping us with this effort. We looked at our biggest consumers of water. Sanitation would have been the leading, water use culprit. I'm going to use the word culprit. So, and then next were the condensers. We knew that the condensers were using, and we didn't have a meter at that time, but we knew they were using a lot of water. And then the scrubbers also were using a lot of water. So then we sat down and we developed a plan. The first thing that we wanted to do was look at nozzles. We had, I talked to the guy that was over sanitation at the time, and he said, we like these. And so we ended up going with the one that he liked. It was ergonomically friendly, and it does a great job, And we saved, I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so we purchased all the new nozzles. We installed them, used them, and tracked the progress. Then the next thing that we did was we went to a dry pickup. We used air hoses, which, I know use a little more energy, but we were able to get everything into a pile and then clean it up. I compare it to hitting a pile of glitter with water. It's going to go everywhere. So this way we were able to get everything in a fine, small pile so that we could pick it up and then wash it down. And that saved a lot of water. The next thing that we did, we installed those air hoses and then tracked our progress. Then we developed what we called the strategic cleaning initiative is the politically correct name for it. So instead of tearing everything down to gaskets and O-rings and small tiny pieces every night and washing all those parts down and then putting them all together and then washing the whole piece down again, we started only tearing everything down 2 times a week. And then the rest of the week we would wash the machine as a whole. And then we, of course, tracked our progress. The next thing that we did was condensing tower. We put in a float that just stopped it from running over. You have to monitor your solids and everything in the condensing towers. And sometimes the chemical salesmen aren't as concerned with water use as they are with the numbers. So we put a float in there to keep the water, at a constant level instead of running it through. We did a wastewater effluent reuse plan, and that was extremely inexpensive to do. Instead of purchasing potable water to transport our chemicals to the DAF unit, we started using our treated effluent to transport our chemicals to the DAF unit. And that was it was a very cheap, inexpensive project, and it saved us 15,000 gallons of water a day. And then we calibrated the scrubbers for the water level control so that they weren't running over, because that also wastes water. So those were basically the biggest things that we did. And then we monitored, we watched the levels. And if we had a water number shoot up, then we went to find what it was. So this is the Boss nozzle that, like I said, the head of sanitation recommended this to me. He said, this is what we want. And it's ergonomic. If anybody's ever used a pressure washer for a long period of time, you just keep on squeezing harder and harder, trying to get stuff clean as your arms get tired. This is you're just holding the hose anyway, and you can let go to turn it off, and it's very, very efficient, and we saved a lot of water with this. There's kind of a picture of it in use. Okay. And then this shows what we did and when we did it, kind of the order of operations, I guess. And again, we tracked everything. We looked at how much we were using, how much of a savings we got from each, that's probably not the best picture, I guess, from each initiative, each new initiative. And here's the wastewater reuse project. This cost us maybe $2,000, including labor. We used an old tote that we had around, and we ran the PVC pipe off our effluent, and it's all gravity fed, so it just automatically feeds. And then we use that water to pump the chemicals out to the DAF unit. Here is part of mainly how I tracked it. This was 19. I have a spreadsheet that has all the different years on it, right? So, and we have, like I said, aggressive goals. So we'd save 5% on energy, 10% on water use, 10% on landfill, and then 5% on greenhouse gases. You can't see the whole thing in this, but you can see we were fully green that year. And we got down to 20.83 gallons of water per 100 pounds of product. So that was a great improvement. I did this chart for the Manufacturing Excellence Award. You can see the blue line at the top is the 2016 water use and unfettered. And then the orange line underneath it is 2017. And you can see in January, we installed those, bought the nozzles, and then we installed them in February. You can see that first great big drop of about 1 million gallons a day. So then the next project that we implemented was the dry pickup, and we dropped, it looks a great deal. The next one was the strategic cleaning initiative, where we started just washing the equipment as a whole, dropped again, and then by June from May to June is when we installed the wastewater reuse project, and that dropped again. We tried a few other things. We tried cleaning with cold water pressure washers, so that would have limited a lot of the water that we were using. That did not succeed. But after that was our last really major water savings initiative. But because everyone was aware of what we were trying to do, and if they saw a sink on, or a hose that wasn't turned all the way off, or something that was using more water than necessary, then we had everyone's commitment in helping us save the water. And that's how we ended up dropping a full 50%. The picture on the left is the kind of plumbing fittings that they were using before. We got the nozzles, and then the picture here on the right is of the actual nozzle, and you can you can kind of tune that in to however strong the stream you need that, and it's really a quality product. You can't see the whole picture here, but this is some of the air wands that we were using for the dry pickup that we purchased and did the dry pickup with that, and that saved a great deal of water. This is where we were monitoring the scrubbers and making sure that we weren't using any more water. If these get too full, they run over down on the production floor. So this way, once we got him calibrated, we stopped, running excess water over. This is my boss and the engineer and I when we won the President's Award. Proud moment. This is the new standard. And after COVID came out and we had extra hand washing, we had extra sanitation and everything. Yeah, this is this year and part of last year that they picked the new standard, and the new standard that they picked was the last 3 months of 2018 and then the first 9 months of 2019, and we were killing it. So I knew it was gonna be pretty hard to match that. But this is as of, yeah, I've got October's in there, just a little bit of it. So this is as current as I can get right now. This is how we're doing now. And we're at 24.77 for an average on water use, and we need to get back down. We need to get 10% now under 20.3. Difficult, but not impossible. And then here, this is a chart of all the years put together, and the light green down at the bottom is this year, and the light blue down at the bottom is 2020, and then I've already kind of shown you the others. And I believe that concludes the presentation.
All right. Thanks, Carrie. Ron, do we have any questions?
Hi, Angela. I'm not seeing any questions at this moment.
All right. So, Carrie, can you talk a little bit about why the water usage went up again after? Well, I guess it started during COVID. So, if you can explain why.
Sure. We did not. We never shut down during COVID. We kept going. And we increased the sanitation. We started washing places every day and several times a day that we normally didn't. Maybe we would wash or spray down once a week. Cafeteria was disinfected every day, several times a day. And like I said, the hand washing increased by everyone. And so then we actually were using sanitizers inside the facility to sanitize not only the air, but as well as the equipment. Mm-hmm. So and we're still doing a lot of that. So that's why the water use is still up.
Right.
Great. Carrie, I do have a question that comes in from Jennifer Adams. She asked regarding the wastewater reuse to the DAF unit. Were there any permit implications for that, or was it just a recycle loop?
Yeah, no, I am in very good contact with my local wastewater plant. So any change in the process, I need to let her know. But she absolutely had no, I didn't have to ask for a permit modification or anything, and she was absolutely fine with it. It didn't change. What it did do is instead we brought our wastewater use down another 15,000 gallons a day, right? Because if we're pumping the potable water through there to send the chemicals in, then once we started using our reuse water, it went down by that much. So that was really the only difference that they saw at that point.
Okay, great. So I do have several other questions I'd like to run past you. How heavy was How heavily was food safety involved in deciding to only fully break down equipment a few times a week? Did any microbial testing have to be performed? So let me give you that again. How heavily was food safety involved in deciding to only fully break down equipment a few times a week? And did any microbial testing have to be performed?
Absolutely. So I'm glad you asked that. Food safety was neck deep involved in that, and we ran swabs before. We, the way that when we were washing everything down every night, tearing it all apart. I don't want to make it sound like we were not washing down, but I mean, we tore everything down to gaskets and O-rings every night. So yeah, they ran swabs and then sent those off for analysis. And then once we started the initiative, then we also ran swabs, sent those in, and in a lot of cases they actually showed less bacteria than before. So we tracked everything. We tracked everything. Did that fully answer the question?
Yes. Yeah, that was great.
Excellent. We have another question. This is from Nick M. Asks, is this practice of water conservation being implemented at all Smithfield?
It is a company-wide goal. All the goals that I mentioned, the 10% water reduction, 10% landfill reduction, a lot of our plants are zero landfill. I've been working to get there. And then the 5% energy reduction and the 5% greenhouse gas reduction is company-wide. So not every technique that we've used has been implemented by all the plants, but we did win the President's Award, which is an in-company award in 2019 for this project. And so a lot of our ideas at that time went out to people within the company. And they can use what they like. The main thing was just sitting down, looking at it. If you can try to look at it with fresh eyes, and notice the things that you've been overlooking. That's the way we've always done it. Can be the enemy to environmental, improvement. So we just started trying to look at things in a different way.
Excellent. We have another question from Scott Pfister. He asks, is there anything that can be done, structure, coatings to surface, to make cleaning easier, i.e. make the fog release from the surface easier?
Is there anything that can be, well, I think some of what they've done with the wash down, I bet I know what he's talking about with the trees. So we tried, like I said, the pressure washer with the tree wash, but because we hang the food directly on there, maybe a non-stick cooking spray, something along those lines might have been effective. But we had USDA's full blessing to use that, and then when they were clean when they came out, but there was a little, because of the cold water. I think if we'd used steam genies, to be honest with you, I think we could have. The purpose there was not only to save water, but also to save the gas from the quick water. We use natural gas to heat quick water, and we run that about 16 hours a day just for the tree wash. So I think if we would have used steam cleaners on that project, it would have been successful. And I think the nonstick cooking spray is a good idea. Thank you for that.
Excellent. Do we have any other questions? Okay, we just got one from Kelly Brown. Is your sanitation in-house or is it contracted out?
We contracted out.
And did you find that was difficult with the water conservation projects?
Actually, at the time, no. Like I said, the first when I noticed how our water use was in 2016, and that I could track it from Pat because we track everything. When I noticed that that our trajectory was kind of straight up, I talked to him and said, I hate to do it to you, but we're probably going to have to get you some nozzles. And he was the most helpful. He handed me the nozzle that we bought. no, little flyer for it. And so we like this one, and that is the one that we bought and that we went to, and like I said, we save like 1 million gallons a day based on sanitation's preferences and suggestions.
Excellent. So getting your contractor on board was really key for that project.
It's always, you want everyone to help that you can. It helps with your success.
Any other questions? You can hit the little hand button to raise your hand if you want to speak, or you can type it in the question box, either way.
All right. Well, it's looking like you guys are questioned out. Feel free to keep typing while I'm talking. But I just wanted to say thank you again to Carrie for sharing their story of how they just made some common sense changes using those fresh eyes. We did record today's webinar, and we will post that up on our events page. If you go to esi.org, I think it's ncdsi.org, and go to our events page, you can find recordings from any of our past webinars over the past couple of years that we've recorded and posted up. You'll also see future registration. For those of you that don't get our regular emails, you can always go to our events page and see what's coming up and register for them there. So thank you all for attending. And I believe there will be a follow-up survey right after you log out today. So if you could go ahead and fill that out for us so that we know what you're interested in learning more about, so we can try and schedule some more events for you, that would be wonderful. So
And I thank you guys for the opportunity to do this. I enjoyed working with you, and I enjoyed the process of putting the PowerPoint together, and hopefully it will help people save water and achieve their goals.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all, and have a great day.